As Israel responded to the attack, some Democrats in Congress, as you have come to expect, came out in support of the terrorists who fired the rockets initially. Now, you could probably guess who the people are who came out in support of the terrorists. First one is Ilhan Omar, who tweeted and said, "How many more protesters must be shot, rockets must be fired, and little kids must be killed until the endless cycle of violence ends?" Well, if you want to know how many more rockets have to be fired, well, then maybe ask the people who fired the rockets in the first place. She says, the status quo of occupation and humanitarian crisis in Gaza is unsustainable. Only real justice can bring about security and lasting peace. But to me, that was not nearly as concerning as the tweet that was sent by Rashida Tlaib, Congresswoman from Michigan. And she's an American congresswoman, allegedly. Here's what she said. Now listen to this. She said, "When will the world stop dehumanizing our Palestinian people who just want to be free?" Headlines like this, and she's reacting to a headline in the New York Times. And I think it was the New York Times. Headlines like this and framing it in this way just feeds into the continued lack of responsibility on Israel, who unjustly oppress and target Palestinian children and families. All right, I'll go back to that first sentence because that's really the only sentence that matters here. She says, "When will the world stop dehumanizing our Palestinian people who just want to be free?" What? Our Palestinian people? Our? Now, we're told that it's a racist smear to accuse Muslim politicians of dual loyalty. And I agree that if you were to, it would be a smear to accuse a Muslim politician of dual loyalty just because she's a Muslim. That would be a smear. But if she advertises her dual loyalty, if she comes out and says it, which is what she just did here, our Palestinian people, well, then it's not a smear. It's just an observation. That's all. And actually, maybe I should back up for a minute because, no, I don't think that Tlaib has dual loyalty because there's no evidence at all that she's loyal to America in the first place. So I think I'm more accusing her of having sole loyalty to her Palestinian people. That's what she just said. She said, well, they're my people. That is really, really concerning. I don't think it's like a matter of semantics here. Yeah, it's just one word, but that's a really important word because that is a word that expresses who your loyalties lie with and who you identify yourself with. And I don't think it's too much to ask that if you're a politician in America and you're a representative of American citizens, whenever you refer to our people, you should be talking about Americans. Or even more specifically, the American citizens who elected you and who you represent. I think she needs to be investigated for this. And I'm serious. If she was a civilian, it would be one thing. There are plenty of idiots on Twitter who are cheering on terrorists, and they're allowed to do that. I think it's vile and stupid, but they're allowed to do it. If you're a member of the U.S. Congress and you're referring to non-Americans as your people, that raises some very serious questions. Your sole loyalty as a representative, as a member of the U.S. government, needs to be with America. Do you think someone could get a job like at the NSA if they went around saying stuff like this? Do you think if in the interview process at the NSA you were to refer to my Palestinian people, you think you'd get the job? No, there's no way. If you're working at the NSA, they want to be very, very sure that your sole and only loyalty is to this country. I think it should be the same thing with politicians who are making the laws, the ones who are in charge of things. And before anyone accuses me of racism, though I don't really care if you do because that label has lost all meaning these days, but I would say the same thing for anyone who referred to another people or another country as their people.